G'day Larry Gang, how you going? And welcome back to the channel. Pretty well with the taser video. You guys liked that video a lot, and I figured, you know what? Let's do another story of the dumb stuff I did as a child. This is the story of a bomb that had 1,500 sparklers in it. 1,500 sparklers. I unsuspiciously purchased from a Woolworths store. For those who don't know, a Woolworths store is in Australia. It's a Australian supermarket thing, kind of like Walmart or whatnot. I think it's kind of like Walmart. So my friends in the street and we like to play with fire a lot. We were quite the pyromaniacs. We made a lot of simple things from sparkler rockets to lighting things on fire in the fireplace that we had in my house. And yeah, you know what? It probably escalated further and further than it probably should have. As this story will lead on to, it ended up with a bomb of 1,500 sparklers. Anyway, so it all started when we were online and looking at, videos of people getting cans of spray and sticking fire in front of it. After the flamethrower cans, we decided to up the ante a little bit. We were looking for different things that could cause explosions. My granddad was a chemist and he also owned a rifle legally in Australia. He used to go to different farmland and shoot rabbits and stuff and to clear the pests. So yeah, he did have some gunpowder on him. Don't worry, we didn't use it to make explosions because that would have been way too dangerous. Obviously, I did not do this without my granddad's permission or supervision. We were not that stupid. Quite often we used to make little chemistry experiments. I'd never actually called it explosions or anything. I used to just say, I call my granddad Papas. I'd say, hey Papas, can we do an experiment? And experiment often meant we just lit something on fire. It wasn't an actual experiment at all. It was just lighting something on fire. Like we used to make pitchers and stuff in wood and light it on fire. And the gunpowder would burn and leave a mark on the wood to make like a kind of cool little picture thing. This is where the obsession began because I used to have to wait to go to my grandparents' house in order to do these experiments. So we started to look for other sources of flammable stuff other than just cans of spray and flamethrower. So we looked elsewhere and we thought to ourselves, well, what else is flammable? Hey, sparklers. You can easily buy those at the shop. Let's go buy some sparklers. And so we bought a packet of sparklers from the local corner shop. We kind of just looked at it and we're like, well, I guess we just light them all up at once and see what happens. So we lit them up at once and surely enough, it goes up in flames. And as soon as we saw that, we're like, hang on a minute. If we add more sparklers together, it makes a bigger explosion. We're a genius. We went back to the store and we purchased about 10 packs of sparklers.
So this is going up on YouTube, of course, and we'll put this as the start.
Just imagine this is like...
So imagine one sparkler, 600 times more.
Needless to say, it created a fireball about the width of the driveway. Enough for you to freak out over, enough for parents to be worried about you, and enough to warn the local authorities that there could be a potential terrorist on the loose in our neighborhood. But no law enforcement got involved here because, like I said in the previous video, we were quite a distance away from that. So I think I saw the police once in our street. We thought to ourselves, well, what could we do with sparklers? Like we noticed it was a gradual fizzle. It wasn't an explosion, like a sudden pop. And that got us thinking, well, what if we wrapped it in foil, duct taped it really hard, but left the bottom unduct taped and then had the top all duct taped up. So then the flames only had one way to go. Could we make a rocket? We tied it all together. We used the sparkler rods, like the handles, as a tripod for the rocket to sit on, and pulled one sparkler out as the fuse, and we lit that one sparkler, stood back and waited to see what happens. Surely enough, it launched itself into the air, and quite high at that. And anyway, at that point we were like, oh my god, this is so amazing. So we figured out that if you've got one packet of 16 sparklers and tied them all together, pulled one out as a fuse, and like cut off the rest of the handles, and then have 3 handles taped in to act as a tripod, you can make a rocket really easily. We made multiple of those. The first one did amazingly well, and here's the video of it now.
If it launches up, go with it.
Yep.
Ready?
Holy crap!
As you can see of how successful it was, we decided to make a lot more, but all that did was make us realize that it was a one-time fluke. Every other sparkler rocket we made after that completely failed and would either just fall over, fizzle out. One time, it fell down, launched sideways, and put a ton of holes in our trampoline. Yeah, as soon as that happened, our mum basically just said, "Oi, no more sparklers, you're ruining the house, go do it somewhere else." She didn't exactly say no more sparklers, she just said go do it somewhere else, so we did it somewhere else. So if you think that was the tip of the iceberg, you would be very, very wrong. We eventually made a 300 sparkler bomb that lit up the entire driveway in flames. It kind of singed some bushes, and at that point we kind of realized, well, we can't do this any further without having an open space to do it in. So we did another one that was 500 sparklers in the middle of the street. That one was very, very big. Unfortunately, I don't have videos of this. We didn't actually film at the time. At that point, the street one was kind of too big, and our parents just banned us all together from doing it ever again. Days went past without doing anything pyrotechnical, and we were hungry. We were thirsty for more flames. We pulled in our resources and gathered as many sparklers as we possibly could. We gathered a total of, I think it was 700 at the time. My dad was actually at work whenever we did these little experiments. This time it was a weekend and my dad was home to see what we were doing. He did not know that our parents had banned us from making bombs out of this stuff. Intrigued as he was, he said, "Hey, I'll help you out of this." So we went to the local store and we purchased double the amount. He purchased another 800 sparklers for us from the store. The store owner looked at us and was just like, "Yeah, no, you're up to some sketchy stuff." Anyway, we came back home and my mum saw all the sparklers we had and she said, "I thought I said you weren't allowed to do this anymore." My dad was saying, "Oh, don't worry, it'll be fine. I'm supervising them, blah, blah, blah." And so we started the endeavor of crafting this monster of a 1500 sparkler bomb. 1500 sparklers. Come on, this thing was ridiculous. Like, when you take this whole thing together, it was the size of like a motorcycle helmet. It was huge. It weighed a ton as well. I was holding this thing in my hand and I could barely hold it. It was like trying to lift weights as a 13-year-old kid. It was ridiculous. We didn't know when we were gonna light it, but we needed an excuse to light it somewhere. My auntie's birthday came around and we decided, hey, you know what? Let's light this thing up for my auntie's birthday. We all went down to local park. It was a very big and wide area. We stood a decent 200 meters back. This park's pretty big, by the way. The kids at the time and I did not know how big this thing was going to flare up. It was so big, it was almost twice the size of the tree behind it in height. And anyway, here's the video of the monstrosity at work.
So this is what we got here.
Yeah, this is our big
Sparkler bomb.
sparkle bomb.
Here we go.
Georgie, look next
Hit
to
the
it.
second one.
Don't look at it, Georgie. Wow, that was awesome.
Look at it. It's massive. This thing was ginormous. Anyway, so my granddad was there and, you know, as I said earlier, he's a chemist and he understood that even though it didn't explode, it could still have a later reaction and cause more damage. The kids started running over to witness the aftermath of this massive thing and we all had to stop them and say, no, don't go. Like, this thing is still glowing. Like, we don't know if it's going to explode again. Probably about 10 minutes passed and then we decided it was okay to go and look at it. The entire core center of it had melted into just molten metal. This thing heated up to probably at least 3,000 degrees and it was still glowing. We did it in a park surrounded by houses. Our neighbors saw this thing. I have no idea what they thought it was. Anyway, we didn't hear anything from them. We didn't hear anything from the police. Thank God for that. At that point, my mum was basically like, yeah, you know, you're never allowed to do that size of sparkler bomb again. But she didn't actually ban us from doing sparkler-related things. Once we did that, we had a taste of power. So we decided to grab the cans of spray that we were talked about earlier. We basically just took the cap off and then got 2 spray cans. We sprayed all around the spray cans so the whole thing would light up on fire and throw them like they were Molotovs. These things went boom. These things actually exploded and make loud bangs. Bits of shrapnel would actually fly, and the second we saw that shrapnel fly, we immediately realized, yeah, no, we have to stop doing this. Someone is going to get severely hurt. I'm surprised no one got hurt at this point in time. I really am quite shocked. It was incredible that no one got hurt. And anyway, that was the time I made a 1,500 sparkler-sized bomb. Man, my childhood was really scuffed when it came to rules and rule breaking. What is wrong with my mom? She let us do the craziest stuff now thinking about it. Oh my goodness.